700 employees have just been laid off and replaced with AI at Klarna. Klarna has just wiped out 10% of its employees, and that's just the beginning. All of these businesses are about to do the same thing because, think about it, they don't have to pay healthcare benefits anymore. They don't have to worry about workers' comp insurance. They don't have to worry about all the HR issues that come with having a business and dealing with people. They don't have to worry about people needing lunch breaks. They now have AI that can do it around the clock, and all the money that they're going to make now and save. This is just the beginning.
I just got laid off. I was laid off from my outpatient job, and I was working in a NICU follow-up clinic. I have never experienced something like this before. So I'm doing what any sane person would do, which is I'm eating French fries, waiting to go into Hobby Lobby. I will say I'm very thankful that I work per diem. I do have a second job that I'll just pick up a little bit more at. I don't have benefits through this job, so I'm not taking a hit as much as a lot of the other nurses are, but whoa. I have a lot of feelings about this. I think the biggest one I'm feeling though is disappointment and I'm a little bit angry. This is the first time where I have seen with my own eyes that we treat healthcare like a business. It sucks because at the end of the day, the people who are suffering this layoff the most isn't me, it's not the nurses, although yes, we are suffering, it's the kids. And that's what I'm having such a hard time understanding is, why are we doing this when we know the detrimental impact it's going to have on the patients who are the children?
Really torn up about whether or not I was going to make this video, but I think I need to. Today, I'm an owner-operator. I own my own truck, or I should say I used to own my own truck. Today's the worst day of my life. Today's the day that I turn my truck in. I between the shops and the insurance and everything else that goes with it, the payments, I went broke. Put it my way, I just went broke. Got to turn my truck in. Love my truck. I tried my best. Luckily, I work for a guy who's good enough to put me in a company truck. But it doesn't change the fact that I fucking failed. Run my ass off a bit, stay out 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks at a time, sometimes more. Not only spend every penny I have, I went in debt. I owe this good man a lot of money. A lot of money. He's good enough to try. He's going to work with me. See if I can't get it paid back. Doesn't help the fact that I failed. I don't know what else to say. I don't deal with failure well, and I failed in a grandiose fashion, man. Crash and burn like I never done in my life. Stay blessed. Remember, put God first.
I work at an Amazon fulfillment center, and we are a center that does like awkward boxes. What does that mean? So like if you order like an umbrella, a patio umbrella, that's the kind of stuff we do. We don't do what you see with the robots and the people standing there with the little boxy things. No, we have big stuff. Last weekend was the first weekend since I had started here, which has only been a month. But last weekend was the first weekend that they did not offer overtime for my department, which is receiving. Yesterday, they sent everybody home early by like 4 hours. We worked 10-hour shifts by like 4 hours. I'm on my first break getting ready to go back in, and they already told me they're getting ready to send people home again, VTO, voluntary time off.
Microsoft tells us it's laying off 3% of its global workforce. This is across all geographies and all levels of employment. This appears to be its largest cuts since early 2023 when it laid off 10,000 employees. Based on the last count of employees that we have, this would be about 6,000 employees with these global cuts. As for why this is happening, Microsoft tells us in a statement, we continue to implement organizational changes necessary to best position the company for success in a dynamic marketplace.
Mass layoffs are happening more and more frequently now that the economy is continuing to spiral downhill. And it's not a surprise when I see that there are companies just laying off whole departments, that companies are just going out of business and letting go of everyone. I was even impacted by this not too long ago. In fact, it really caught me by surprise. Here's what happened to me. I've been working for a company for a very long time. It's basically higher education. And not long ago, they flew me to Spain, and my husband was able to come with me. So I was there for 1 week, and I had, a really decent time outside of the working hours, just being able to, I didn't have a lot of time off, but the time that I did to be able to go and explore some of the areas that we were around. We were actually in Madrid. I came back from that trip, and myself and a few others that worked for the company, and, got back to business as usual. Everything seemed to be fine. And out of basically nowhere, within the next few months, we were told that there were going to be layoffs at the company. And, I know that there's a lot of layoffs going on right now, but this was not necessarily due to signs of the times, in terms of the economy and, just how the economy is affecting people. But this ultimately came down to AI. And we've been hearing a lot that AI is, here, it's here to stay, whether you like it or not. Maybe you use some AI tools already or not, but AI is here, and it's starting to pop up, in different places. I don't know if you've seen robots yet, but we have. Not here in Texas, but not to say that they're not in Texas, but we've seen robots serving at restaurants in Florida, actually. And so, you're going to start to see things pop up like that here and there. And I believe that a lot of jobs are going to continue to be impacted by AI. And it's predicted right now that 2.4 million jobs are going to be replaced by AI by 2030. And even after 2030, 408 million jobs are going to be lost to AI. And they're replacing a lot of different workers across different fields. And my job in particular was not, my exact position was not replaced by AI. But what happened is that, like I said, I was working in higher education. So that means we had students that were enrolling in the programs. And the students are there to study, different disciplines within the field of arts and digital arts, the FX industry. And these students are now realizing that their jobs, their livelihood, their future, their dreams are being crushed because now AI is able to do the work for them. And people with no experience are able to harness the power of AI to replicate a lot of things that these students are having to go to school for years for to be able to do. So in my particular instance, my job wasn't directly replaced by AI, but the students that are basically going to school for certain, like I said, certain programs and different career aspirations, they are seeing that AI is now taking their jobs. So that in turn affected enrollment, which affected employment for different individuals. And, it happened so quick. It happened really quick. And like I said, I was with this company for a very long time. And, one minute it's like you feel like you're being wined and dined. And then the next minute it feels like you're just being dumped. And that's literally the feeling that I had. And it was very upsetting, and it was very sad. And unfortunately, it's just the truth right now of where we see things going in the future. And there's jobs that will not be impacted directly by AI, but there are a lot of jobs that are going to be, and it's no secret. And even if you think that it won't happen to you or that it can't happen to you, think again, because it could. And I think it's really important to start to think about these things, because you don't know if and when it can happen. And if so, how much of your livelihood is going to be affected if you no longer have your employment, right? So keep that in mind. We are big proponents of being debt-free, having no debt, or if you have debt, to slash that as quick as possible. But if you're in a position that you don't have debt, that you've lowered your expenses by a lot, you're living below your means, whatever your means are, living below them, doing your best to live below them. If you're doing these things, then, in essence, you are keeping you and your family a little bit more secure. You're preparing for your future, just in the fact of you're not setting yourself up for so much failure, that you're living paycheck to paycheck, that if you were to lose your job, you're only a couple months away from losing the house and the car and getting behind on bills and not being able to pay the credit cards, and then having, all these issues, right? So I think it's just really, really important to, more than ever, in today's very fragile economy and society, to be debt-free, work towards being debt-free if you're not, work towards lowering your expenses as much as possible, and saving money, and if that means, while times are good, getting, another job, or I hate to have to work 2 jobs, or to tell people to work 2 jobs, because that's just so much. But if that's what it takes, to do that, or at least start a side hustle, or see how you can make some money on the side, and save up money, build up a savings, so that if ever anything were to happen, then, you have some money to use wisely, and keep yourselves afloat for the time being. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because like I said, AI is going to be impacting a lot of jobs through all kinds of different fields. I mean, from truck drivers to customer service representatives to bank tellers to it's so much. It just goes on and on and on. And I don't think it's going to be changing anytime soon. So I'm really curious as to your thoughts, if you've seen this impact anyone in your life, or if maybe you've been impacted as well, or if you've heard thoughts, or if you've heard talks about it. But please share below if you have, because I think it's really good to have this discussion. I don't see a lot of people talking about this, and I think it's important enough to address, because it is here and it is a threat to us, because if we don't have our jobs, you lose the way to provide for your family. So leave your thoughts and comments down below, because I'd love to hear, and I hope you guys are well, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.